everybody. So Nicole here with Food on the Vine, and today we're going to be looking at what happens with tomatoes when too much rain comes, and we're going to remedy that. Okay, so we see our tomato bed right here. We've got all these tomatoes, and this is actually the other half of our adoptive garden box project that we kind of had fun with. This is an old dresser that somebody threw out. There's the drawers down there that has a bunch of winter greens, fall and winter greens in it. And we just decided to utilize these. This is a nice deep bed full of great soil and compost. And so we've got a lot of tomatoes over in the greenhouse, over yonder there. And those are great, where they're very controlled environment. We control the water in there, so on and so forth. Outside, we've got the rains coming in. We have a big rain coming tomorrow, and we had one about a week ago. And what you see happen when they're getting too much water is you see this. It's very common. You've probably seen this, okay? It can be on your cherry tomatoes or your big tomatoes. Here's another one. This is one that cracked, but it sort of starts to seal over like that. This is an inconsistent water issue. Tomatoes don't like too much water. It will also hurt them if you let them start to wilt and dry out. But the too much water thing, you can't stop this because of the large amount of water that exists in the tomato fruit. You see how watery they are when we cut them open. Same with like a cucumber, large percentage of water in the fruit. So when it gets too much rain, it can't hold it all and it explodes like this. Okay, so what it's time to do now, we're here at the beginning of October. It's time to not let this happen to your tomatoes. And you can preserve them for a bit longer. I can get a couple more months or so. Even though these are outside here in the Pacific Northwest, these tomato plants will give us tomatoes for 2 or 3 more months if I cover them. It adds a little bit of heat. We're going to leave the ends open for aeration, but just covering the tops using these very simple PVC pipes, purchased for a few dollars at the hardware store. And some plastic will do it, and it will cover them, keep them from being over rained, so we'll still get a really nice harvest of tomatoes that do not look like this. And the other thing you want to do is you want to start cleaning out some of the yucky looking leaves. Okay, you want to get that out of there. You have yellowing plant leaves. Now's a really good time, if you haven't already, to trim down some of that foliage, because trimming down the foliage is going to keep them warding off disease as long as possible as the cold weather starts to set in. Okay, and here in particular we can get some wilts and a lot of powdery mildew will start to spread through the tomatoes, and the aeration helps with that so much. Okay, so we're going to get started on covering these, and we're just using some basic plastic. The idea here is not perfect heat, because it's not going to be totally enclosed. The idea here is keep the water off. The water off the leaves, which spreads disease, and we don't want too much water to go into that soil. Tomatoes don't like to be watered every day. You will do much better with your tomatoes watering them once or twice a week deeply. They don't do well with the light spattering of water at the surface. Because the roots want to go deep, and the deeper you let your water run, the deeper your plant's roots are going to grow, and you're going to get a much stronger tomato plant in the long run that'll be far more productive and more withstanding of the wind and things like that. Okay, so I just want to show you one of the ways that I attach plastic to the PVC pipes is with these white attachments you see here. These are cheap. You can buy them on Amazon. I think they're just called hoop clips or something like that, but they fit right on here. See that? Perfect. So you want to get the right size hoop clip for the size of PVC pipe that you have. There's different size clips and different size piping. And then we're going to use just some plastic here. I think these might be some old old plastic shower curtains or something, so shower liners, you know. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to cover these guys up, and then we'll talk some more about these tomatoes. There we have it. So we've got a lot left on the end to help kind of cover over this much. Same with the other end here. And what we've used are these little white clips. And when you use the clips, one thing you need to know is to use a lot. You see how many are on there? It's not just like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like, no, you use a ton, because as soon as a wind comes that is strong, will start blowing on this and could potentially rip this off, and you don't want that to happen. As we could twist, you know, knock this up and twisty tie this up if we want to a bit later, and use some other kind of clips on here. But you really want to use a lot. We've got now our tomato plants out of the rain, which is going to give us some delightful fruit on these plants. These plants, I want to tell you a real quick fun fact, are volunteers that are the offspring of the hybrid variety Sun Gold. So any of you out there who've already eaten Sun Gold tomatoes or grown them know how utterly sweet and delicious they are. They are the very best. So they get an orange color and they are utterly sweet. So, so good. Oh, almost like eating grapes. So the idea in the gardening community, of course, is that hybridized fruit doesn't necessarily produce very viable seeds that you would like, because it's gonna, the baby plant will become like one parent plant or the other, rather than giving you that final delightful Sun Gold quality. But I'll tell you, these are excellent, excellent tomatoes. We've loved them. So if you have a bunch of them sprout up from your Sun Gold, my advice is let them grow.